Well, hello, all of you Forever Ambassadors. Thank you so much for joining me for the last session of Back to Basics Part 4. This is Tara Claiborne, part of the sales team, and I just want to talk to you today about how to close the deal. This is something that's really, really important with all that you've done. Thank you for listening to our recordings to help you from starting to think about who do you know and who are you attracting or who do you want to attract and get to know, all the way to making your list and starting to reach out to them, overcoming objections. And now, after you've done that, we've got to figure out how to close the deal to help you have some success. So I want you to remember, first of all, that when we're talking about sales, yes, you're in sales. That is part of it. That's not what we want to be known as. But when you're talking about sales, a smart salesperson listens to the emotions, not the facts. So we're going to talk about that today and really how to, number one, be a really, really good listener, be a really good question asker, and then listen to people's emotions and find out what's important to them, not just the facts. I don't want you to feel like a salesperson, but we need to act like a salesperson. But again, that reputation sometimes is very negative. And I think when you can really get to know the person and go over the things that I'm going to talk to you about today, it's going to really help you shine and get through some of those obstacles. So first of all, I just want to share with you a few statistics on basic sales. 25% of leads are actually the legitimate ones and advance into a sale. So if you're doing an event and you have 12 people at your event, only 3 of them are going to be your really solid leads that probably, go to having a sale. And so I don't want you to get discouraged on that, even if you have leads from a vendor event, thinking about that and how many people actually it turns into a sale for you. It's about 1 in every 4, so 25%. So with that knowledge, it means that this entirely is a numbers game. And the more people you talk to, the more people you're in front of, the more people that know what you do and what you offer, you're going to have more success in sales. And so with that, 44% of salespeople give up after 1 follow-up. That means they talk to them and they even invite them to an event. And if they don't even respond, they give up. Or if they engage in a conversation and ask somebody a question, if they never answer, they give up. They kind of reach out one time, and if there's not anything that comes through from that, they give up. So with that, 80% of sales requires 3 to 5 follow-ups. And I say 3 to 5 touches from the first initial conversation to inviting them to something, to meet in person or screen sharing or an event, to reminding them about that event, meeting with them, and hopefully that magic happens when you actually meet with them and have that appointment or that presentation. But there are some other follow-ups afterwards. If they're not ready to make that decision, you got to follow up. And we're going to talk about really asking the questions to make sure that you're getting honest answers from them. My one thing is I always want people to be honest. I'd rather ask them and know up front if they're interested than me feel like I'm harassing anybody. So it's very important that you ask the right questions and get the right feedback so you feel confident to keep following up with them because you know if they're really interested or not. So with that, it means that 44% of salespeople have 80% probability they won't close the sale. So we want you to be in the percentage that does get the sale. And it takes practice. A lot of it does. So let's talk a little bit about what to do. So we've been reaching out to people. We've been trying to write a new list of people. And it does. It takes courage. It takes building your confidence. It takes practice. But I think a lot of it is you're getting to know them as a person. And you maybe even already know them before, and that's why they're on your list. Or if they're a referral of somebody or somebody you're more of an acquaintance with than a friend, you do have to get to know them as a person. But even in part of this process, it's getting to know them better. And so we'll go over that. and then asking them the right questions. I go over several questions to really just help the conversation after that initial reach out that we talked about a couple weeks ago, and then helping them come up with their solution. The whole idea in sales is you really want the person you're talking with to come up with their own solution and think it's their idea, and then you have what they need for their solution. So it's a win-win. And again, when I talk about salespeople and in sales, I don't want you to have a bad thought in your mind about that or a bad feeling. It needs to be a positive word. It's something, it's really a service, something that you offer someone, and you can help so many people with their solution, but they have to know they have a problem, be willing to say they want to get help with their problem, know what the goal is of their solution before you ever can help them, or they'll say yes to you. Then you want to ask them a few more questions to guide them to the close and getting some feedback with them. And then you really want to thank them properly. And we're going to talk about gratitude at the very end. So let's get started with this and just jump right in. So first of all, getting to know them. Like I said, you may know them as an acquaintance, or you may be just getting to know them. But some of the things that really help is finding out more about them. And again, it's asking more questions. You want to just think about, you're really interviewing everybody in your whole life. When you cross paths with people, if you ask about them, it gives them permission to talk. Everybody loves to talk about themselves, but some people do it naturally and people don't like it, and they'll, talk about yourself too much, they'll run away or walk the other way. So if you're giving them permission because you want to know about them, it's a huge compliment, and people want to share more. So you hopefully can guide them into, what do you want to hear more about them? Is it more about their family? What's important to them? Their family names, or what does their family believe in, or what do their family like to do? Even their career, what's their job? When are they going to retire? Is this the only big career that they've ever had? How long did it take them to get there? Hobbies, what do they like to do in their spare time? Do they have much spare time? What are some things that maybe have to do with pictures in their spare time? And then again, what's most important to them in their whole big scheme of life? What are their values and dreams, and what's important to them as a person, to them as a family? And all this will relate to pictures. It just helps the conversation when you can ask them to tell you more about what is important in their life. It's going to guide you in this whole conversation. And then lastly, goals. Again, it could tie in with dreams. It could be goals of going on a vacation. It could be goals of, earning an award. It could be goals of just having their family back together all for Christmas one year because it's been 10 years. Find out things. And again, goals could be about what they want with their pictures. So we're going to talk a lot about that, but it is very important that you really are asking about them and their life, and really find out kind of what their whys are in life, what makes them tick, what are the big things for them that are important that they might want to savor and really cherish that they've done or would like to do in the future. So from that, then you're going to ask questions, and these are a little bit more of sales questions. So we've already talked about trying to get somebody to meet with you in person, or meet for a screen sharing, or inviting them to an event. So this is when you're already in a conversation because you're meeting for an appointment. And these are just some generic questions, and then we'll get into more specifics. But to open the question, when you first start, because these would be questions before you even show a demo of your account, or before you do your slideshow presentation, before you show them too much, you just ask questions like, how long you've been faced with this challenge, and what does it cost you? So again, you may even need to back up before that and find out, hopefully you've talked about that, they want some help with their pictures, or they have a really special picture, or they have some special videos, what they've tried, and they just, they've said yes, they know what you do, and they want your help. So you can just say, how long have you been faced with this challenge, and what does it cost you? You want to find out, have they bought a bunch of computers? Have they bought a bunch of external hard drives? Have they tried some other services? What do they like about those services? What do they not like about those other cloud services? And then, it goes into number 2. What have you tried in the past and how's it worked? So you're letting them tell you what they've tried and pretty much telling you that it hasn't worked and they really need a new system or a solution. And it's part of the stage of all this. So ask them what they have been trying, what the challenge is, and how that's worked for them thus far. And then you can go into, because remember, we have to bring the emotion out, how's that making you feel? That's a very, very important question. You want to find out, is this frustrating to them? Are they feeling like they're spending too much money on something else that's not working? Are they feeling unorganized? Are they feeling out of control? Are they feeling like, these last pictures that I have of a special someone, may be lost forever. I'm in a panic. Find out how they're feeling. That's a big, big question to ask. And then ask them, how can you see me being able to help you with all of this? And that's where they're going to come up with the solution. That's the magic question that you want to hear. Be a very, very good listener right there. And they may say, I just want to figure out how I can get all these thumb drives and external hard drives and memory sticks and my iPad and my phone and my camera. I just want everything in one place. My goodness, can you just help me with that? Or I've had these videos, they're precious videos, and the tape now just ripped, and I'm really scared that I'm never going to get to view these again. Can you just help me figure out who I can send these to? So find out how they're feeling and then ask them how you can see me being able to help you before you show them anything else. And then from there, you might want to ask them just a couple things based on what their problem is or what they're working with. If time or money weren't an object, what would be the perfect situation for your pictures to live in? So you're kind of asking them, what is a perfect solution that would work for you? Tell me what the perfect scenario is for you with what you said your problem just was, whether it's videos or the pictures or the disorganization or whatever. Tell me what the perfect scenario would be for you, person that you're sitting with. And then that way you know what they're looking for in a solution. The other thing is, if you could choose just one way to enjoy your memories again, how would you like to do so? That's trying to ask the question of finding out, is it the media conversion that's most important right now? Is it the organization that's most important right now? Are you wanting to print your pictures from your phone right now? Is it that just it's out of control? What is the one thing that you wish you could do right now is the kind of thing. So you can narrow down where they're really thinking of. And then you can also ask if they're kind of talking like they might want projects or an album or things in their home. You could say, if you could pick one project the photo fairy would complete tonight, what would it be? What pictures would it be, in the project? What kind of a project would it be? Tell me what you would do with it. So again, asking a lot of questions, but having them narrow down to one specific thing that they would like done first, whether, one solution or one physical thing they'd like to have in their hand. And then at that point, you can show them your 15, 20-minute live demo of your account and let them see, do it quickly. And that's a lot of the other training that we've been doing is on that. We'll continue to do that because we want you to get good at it. But once you show them, then immediately say, all right, what was the most exciting or helpful thing you saw on my demo? Get them to tell you as many things positive that they saw, that they liked, that jumped out at them, that they think could solve their solution. Then you'll find out also what is important for them in the ecosystem that we have. And then say, how would this help you? Again, letting them come up with that could be their solution and having them answer this. And you might even have a bullet list. It is okay to have a note card with bullet points of what questions to ask somebody. You can be on a screen sharing and you can look at your little note sheet. Nobody's ever going to know. You can be on a phone call. Nobody's ever going to know. You can be in person and they're going to think that you're more professional if you even have a little clipboard that you're asking questions and maybe even filling in the answers because you are taking time to really care about what they're saying so you can remember when you leave and you know how to help this person the best. That's what a personal consultation is for, is somebody usually comes in, like if a home decorator is going to come in and do a consultation of your home, she's going to have a clipboard with some notes and she's going to have all kinds of questions to ask you, and she's going to fill in comments on every question so she can remember what you said and what you want. You can do the same exact thing with all of these questions to help you be the best person to meet with somebody and know what questions to ask and fill in their answers to help guide them. So your job really is to ask the questions, listen closely, and keep guiding the conversation to the next step. And so the next step would be just a couple more questions that are more closing questions. Now that you found out what they really their problem is, what they would love the solution to be, they've watched your demo, you found out what the most important things are for them. Now you can say, you're going to guide it to kind of helping them make a decision. And after you talk about your storage account and you give them the two options, before you even give them the two options, but you can tell them the price up front, I think is great when you're starting your demo. You can even say, what would you be more willing to give up each month to have this guaranteed place for your photos? Would it be monthly, or would it be a one-time? And then if I could show you a way to make this work in your budget, or if I could show you a way to make this work for the time that it would take you to get organized, would you be interested? Kind of like whatever their excuses had been, you say, if I could show you a way to get over that excuse, just don't say it that way, would you be interested? So hopefully that helps you a little bit. And then you want to, sometimes it's hard to ask the closing questions. You can't just say, so what do you think? Okay, that doesn't do it. You've got to be very specific on your closing questions and say, would you be more likely to pay monthly for a year, or want a one-time done and save $50? Hello, Forever Ambassadors. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Tara Claiborne from the sales team, and we are on part 4, our Back to the Basics series that we've been doing the last 4 weeks. And today is about how to close the deal, a very important part. We appreciate your time and investment in listening to the others and really making some progress forward on writing your list of new people, thinking about who new contacts can be, who you know that can guide you to some other people that might be some target markets for you, really reaching out and trying to start a conversation and finding out what people might be interested in. And then, of course, last week was overcoming objections and really getting good at asking questions to help you get over what the excuses are or the reasons why people are saying no. And then today is on how to close the deal. So we're going to get started and talk about how to, really jump in this and make this a positive experience for you. So I want to, first of all, talk to you. I know that salespeople sometimes can have a bad rap. It can be a negative word that people talk about. And we are in sales. That's not a secret. I want you to embrace it. But you can be the difference maker. You can be that positive salesperson that really offers people a solution and a service that's going to get them to say, thank you so much, and tell all their friends about you. It doesn't have to be that bad car salesperson that people run away from. So the best thing to do is to really start with the smart salesperson listens to emotions, not facts. We're going to talk today about how to really find out about what's important to people, how they're feeling, and not just the facts of it all. And I think this will let people know that you care. You're not there to just get a sale, but you really want to help them in some way. And what we have to offer is really, really a grand experience and opportunity that they will be thanking you. So I just want to start with some statistics on sales, because I want all of us to be realistic in this, that really 25% of leads are legitimate and advanced to getting an actual sale. So it takes about 1 in every 4 people to get that yes, and to get them to type in their credit card and hit the order now button. You do have to talk to a number of people. This is a numbers game. And so the more people you're in front of, the more people you can share about what you do, the more people you can attract and engage in conversation, the more chances you are of getting that yes and getting someone to be a client of yours. 44% of people give up after the first follow-up, which means you've sent them a question, maybe on Facebook Messenger, or you sent them an invite to come to an event, and you might have asked them one more time if they're going to be able to come, and if they didn't reply, you never follow up with them again. People get busy. We are busier than ever in life. People forget and have good intentions. Remember, it's your priority, so it does pay to follow up and remind people about 3 to 5 times to get them to come to something and to get them to finally to say a yes to you. So 80% of sales require 3 to 5 follow-ups before you get that firm yes with that hit the order button. 44% of salespeople have 80% probability that they won't close the sale. We want you to be in the percentage that does get the sale. And so we're going to talk today about how to do that, how to ask the right questions, how to get to know them, how to get that emotion involved, and then finally leading the conversation to get them to make a decision at the very end is the very, very important thing. So we want to respect people. One of the things that I love to do, or I just have learned to do, is when you're talking to somebody, you don't want to just say, so what do you think? Or if they say, well, I don't know, no, thank you, just say, okay, then never mind. I'll talk to you later. Okay. You want to engage in the conversation and really find out more specifics. And to do that, you have to ask a lot of questions. So I'm going to challenge you to really get good at this and practice. And I think one of the things that you're going to find out is it's some of the same questions you can ask in every situation. So let's get started. So first of all, I want to challenge you and encourage you to get to know them as a person. Many of the people on your list may be acquaintances, but they shouldn't be your really close friends at this point. You want to get out of your inner circle and have them be people that you don't know as well, that your close friends introduced you to or gave you referrals for. And so in order to get to know them and start a better sales conversation or a solution conversation, you do have to get to know them more as a person. So we'll talk about that. We are going to ask questions to find out what they've tried, what's been working, what doesn't, what are they interested in, why did they choose to meet with you today, and then help them come up with their solution. That is the big key ticket piece there, is to lead the conversation enough so that they come up with their own solution. Then they take ownership and they're like, oh my goodness, this is what I need to do. Can you help me with this? And then boom, sold. They are ready to hire you, your services or your product or whatever it is that, part of what you're offering. But have them come up with their own solution so they feel invested in ownership, and they're going to, thank you that much more. And then you want to ask more questions. You want to ask questions that lead them to that final decision. Very, very important. And then thank them properly. I think it's very important, the gratitude that you give people. And we're going to talk about thanking people properly and making sure that gratitude's a part of your business. So getting to know them, first of all, I just want to share that it's really about finding out what is important to them. Have them, tell me about your family a little bit more. Tell me the names of your kids. Tell me, some of your career goals. Tell me, how many different careers you've had. What's your dream career? What do you like to do in your career? Tell me some of your hobbies. What do you do in your pastime? Do you have much pastime that you get to do hobbies? What are some things that you like to do with your family? What's most important to you personally, you and your career, you and your family? What are your values and morals? Really getting to know some of their whys. What are some of your goals? What are some of your dreams? That's going to lead you to their heart. And in order for this process to work really well, number one, I really genuinely want you to care about people. One of the things is I love people. I really do care about them, and I want to know more. I try to ask people questions because I want to learn about them. I want to learn about their story, their family, who they are, what's important to them. And I think if you do this and you genuinely mean it, then yeah, sales great at the end, but if not, you just made a new friend, and that is very fun too. And it's all going to work in the best interest of both parties, so that nobody feels used. So do ask questions. Again, it gives people permission to talk about themselves. Everybody likes to share about themselves, but we know we're not supposed to talk about ourselves too much. So do ask them questions and get to know people. It will be a difference maker. And just practice in your everyday life, coming up with some questions to ask people in general, what they like to do and what's important to them. And then you're going to get really, really good at this. So then from there, you're going to ask them some questions. And again, these are questions that are already, like you're meeting in person. So you've already talked to them on initial conversation on, what they might be interested in, or a first initial reach out. And this is when they said, yes, they would meet with you, either a screen sharing, a one-on-one appointment, maybe they're coming to a presentation, but it's more like a one-on-one situation where you're sitting there talking to somebody, or you're on the phone, screen sharing with them and talking to them. And these are some generic questions, but they can be tweaked and edited to be very good with what we have to offer. So first one is, you told me when we first started chatting that you really feel overwhelmed with your pictures when I asked you about what you did with your, phone photos. How long have you faced that challenge, and what does it cost you? You're really looking for people to tell you what the big problem is. Might be that they have, all these external hard drives and these memory sticks, and I really either need to, I talked to a girl the other day, she said, I either need to buy a new computer or buy two new external hard drives, or I think what you have with your Forever solution is really the key where I need to put my money. And so people will tell you what they've tried, or what they think they should do, or how much it's cost them thus far, or what they've investigated. It will cost them. And so you need to ask them and pull that information out of them. So how long have you been faced with this challenge, and what does it cost you so far? Then you can say, so what have you tried in the past? And that's where, I've got, I save on external hard drives, and I have my iPad, I've got my phone, I've got all this stuff, and I'm just so unorganized now. And it's not working. That's what I have tried in the past, and it's just not working. So get them to tell you what they have tried, so that the route of process that they've taken this far, to know what the next step is for them. So ask them that. And it'll also tell you what some stumbling blocks are, where, maybe how well they know the computer, or how well, if they're still taking pictures on their camera, or they're using their phone. So just find information, and you're really trying to interview people is what you're doing in the first part of this, is asking these questions and interviewing them to get all the information. And then you make sure you say this: how is that making you feel? This is where that emotion comes in. You want to know, is this frustrating to them? Are they getting angry because this isn't working? Are they ready to throw their computer in the toilet? How is this making you feel, asking them this? And they will be frank with you on, what, I have about one more time in me to reorganize all my pictures. And it is important. I love pictures, and I just want to feel at peace with them again. So get them to tell you how you feel, how they feel. And then lastly, how can you see me being able to help you with this? You've said that, this and this and this is your dilemma. How can you see me being able to help you with this? And they will then tell you what the solution is that they think. I know you're in this photo business. I'm not sure exactly what you offer, but you sound like you know what you're talking about. Can you just guide me to where I can have all this stuff in one place? Or can you just tell me, what external hard drive should I buy that never is going to break again? I'm tired of buying a new one all the time. Or I have this videotape that is ripped and I really want to see this video again because it's so important to me. Can you just help me, guide me where I should send it in that is working? So they look at you as the expert. So one of the things I want to share with you is these questions. To get good at them, you might want to take a piece of paper and write down cheat notes. It is a-okay to do that. If you're on the phone or screen sharing, nobody's going to know you're looking at cheat notes to ask these questions. And then you also, if you're in person with somebody, I think it's great to have a list of questions on a clipboard and asking them. This is like a personal consultation. Just think if you hired or got a free consultation of a home decorator, came in your house and walked room to room and asked you a bunch of questions. She has her list of questions. She's filling in the information as you talk because she doesn't want to forget what you're saying is important to you and what you've tried so far and what you're thinking might work. That makes her more respectable, credible, and more of a professional because she is taking notes from her questions. So I want to give you full permission. Use questions, use cheat sheets, take notes so that you can help people the best with what their dilemma is. Another thing you can do, these are just some other questions before you actually show them what the solution is. After you hear, okay, it sounds like it could be, if time or money weren't an object or an issue, what would be the perfect scenario for your pictures to live in? So you're really asking, in a perfect world, what would you like me to be able to produce for you or to help you with so that it works in, what system would you like it to be perfect? Tell me what perfect means to you. Get them to tell you that. You can also ask a question, if you could choose just one way to enjoy your memories again, how would you like to do so? And that question means, is it you really want all your pictures and albums again to flip through to enjoy while your grandkids are sitting on your lap? Or is it you really would like these, videos to be able to be seen again at your next family reunion or family Christmas? Or are you if you just had things organized in one place, you would feel great. So find out what the one thing that we offer without telling them everything we offer. One thing that you think that, you're asking them, one way they'd like to enjoy their memories again. They usually have in mind one way they really would rather do first to get started, and that's what you're trying to find. And then lastly, if you can tell from the conversation that they might want something printed, then you can ask them, okay, if you could pick one project that the photo fairy would complete tonight, you woke up in the morning, it was laying beside your pillow, what would that project look like? What would be in it? What would be the subject matter? And what would you do with it? Would you hang it on your wall? Would it be a book? So find out that too. That tells you what is very, very important that they want to complete first. So use those questions to help you. Then the next step would be to show them your Forever account, that 15 to 20 minute live demo. Keep it as short and sweet as possible. Hit the highlight points. Share the prices with them very briefly and quickly. And then you come back to asking them their solution. Immediately you want to, look them in the eye, be confident, and just say, or on the phone, what was the most exciting or helpful thing you saw on my demo? And then be quiet and listen. Okay, I always say, ask a question and eat 3 grapes. Okay, I learned that from a friend years ago. It makes you talk, or it makes you listen instead of, was this more exciting or was this more exciting? Don't come up with an answer for them. Let them say what the answer is. And that will tell you what really jumped out at them and what they think would be important that they're looking for. And then ask them, well, how would this help you? And then get them to tell you. They're coming up with their own solution here. So you want to have them answer these questions. And, you know, it's getting better. They're getting excited at this point, and they're seeing, oh my goodness, I think you have what I might have been looking for, and I didn't even know it. So some other closing questions, you know, what would you be willing to give up each month in order to have this guaranteed place for your photos? So you're asking them, you know, is there something, they probably know it has some money to do with, you know, in this, what would they be willing to give up just to make sure that all of this is a guaranteed photo? You've told them how much it costs already, but they might be willing to give up buying Starbucks. They might be willing to willing to not buy a new piece of clothing or new shoes that month. They might be willing to not go out to eat one more time with their family that month so they can have their family picture. So ask them if there's something they'd be willing to give up in order to replace it with their, you know, having an entire photo system that's guaranteed. And then you can say, if I could show you a way to, and the blank is what they said that was most helpful or how this could help them. And if I could show you a way that you really could organize all this again one more time, would you be interested? Or if I could show you a way to repair that video that is, you know, broken and view it again and watch it at your family Christmas, would you be interested? Or, you know, if I could share with you how you can get rid of all those external hard drives and those memory sticks and the chaos and all your different devices and have everything in one place that you can get your fingertips on, would you be interested in? So you're asking them finally what you're telling them or what they've told you the problem is and what you have as the solution, and you're asking them permission if they'd be interested really to hear more. If they're kind of ready to move forward. So that question's important to get to the next step. And then you'd say, you know, have them say, you know what, I would be interested. You're trying to get yeses, you know, trying to get a pattern of yeses out of here. And then you would say, well, would you be more likely to pay monthly for 1 year only, or would you want to have a one-time done, never pay again, and say $50 US dollars? So you're just kind of asking them maybe, you know, like more of what's their budget without asking what their budget is. You know, what would you be more likely to? This also puts an expectation, and I don't want to say you want to expect people to buy this, but you want to be confident and expect people are going to see that there's a solution here and want this. You know, you don't want to assume anything and, you know, and be that pushy salesperson where you expect them to do it and you're so put off if they don't. But expect that what you're going to share is going to be so mind-blowing and such a big deal to them that they are going to just be like, oh my goodness, I have to have this now and get started. I see why forever is all the buzz. So ask them, basically you're asking them, you know, would they be more interested in the monthly payment or the year without saying it that way. And then, you know, if I could show you a way to do this monthly payment, you know, would you be interested? I think I had that on the last slide. And then in closing, like one step further, if they, you know, say they said the monthly, you're like, okay, well, great. You know, I'm glad to hear that that's something that would fit in your budget and you'd be willing to, you know, give up that family dinner once a month because they just told you that on the question before. Or, you know, they said, I'd like to do the one-time done payment and say $50. Like, wow, you're a smart shopper. You know, I'd love to show you some of the options that we have on that because it sounds like, you know, that would be a really good way for you to get started. So keep reviewing their problem and keep reminding them of the solution that they just came up with you. And now is the big question. You want to say, on a scale of 1 to 5, where are you with your decision? Again, eat 3 grapes, don't talk. On a scale of 1 to 5, where are you with your decision? And they might say, what is 5? What does 1 mean? Okay, you can go ahead and tell them, you know, 5 is, yes, I'm ready right now. Please, let's go ahead and get started. I want help with this. Or 1 is, no, this just isn't for me. Thanks, but no thanks. Okay, And this is where if they're not a 5, you can go back to those objection questions and say, if maybe somebody says 3, say, what is your hesitation? What's keeping you from being a 5? Okay, it is okay to ask those questions, and it's much needed, because if they're a 3, you want to know, is there a way to get them from a 3 to a 5? Is it just not a good time right now? Because maybe, they need to wait till the next payday, or maybe, they just, need to wait, or they need to ask their, significant other. You need them to tell you that. So a 5 is a pretty clear, yes, let's go forward. I'm all good with this. Any other number you want to ask them, what could get you to a 5? Is there anything I could tell you more about? And this goes back to them being honest. You'd rather know how they really feel about this and any hesitations they have and what's keeping them from being a 5, so that you can either follow up or you can respect that they just are not interested. So from there, say they say that they're a 5, you would say, oh, great, I'm so excited to partner with you and help you with this. Which package would you like to go ahead and get? Like, jump right in and start the process right now. Which package? How would you like to pay? Which card would you like to use? Let's go set up your account, and immediately go do that. If you have any time lapse in that, there's a much higher percentage they're going to talk themselves out of it. If they hang up and say, I'll call you back with my credit card number, no, you do it right then, if at all possible, to make sure that everything goes smoothly. If they are anything but a 5, and you ask them, what are their hesitations, and you really, ask them those questions. And again, you have to be confident and brave to ask them, but you've got to know what they're thinking. If you don't, your mind is going to drive you crazy and talk you out of ever following up with them again. You've got to know how interested they really are, or if they're not, or what's keeping them from buying it right now. And that's when you say, I hear you say your hesitation is XYZ. When would be okay to follow up with you next? Okay, just flat put it out there and ask. You have to ask, because then if they tell you when to follow up, by golly, write it on your calendar, make sure that you do, and it's your responsibility to follow up. They just told you that you could. And again, that's where the honesty, I think if you have good conversations with people and you're genuine getting to know them, you're asking these questions, they will tell you if they don't want you to follow up. Okay, this is the point where, you're speaking heart to heart here. So when is okay to follow up, and then do it. And even on follow up, if for some reason they don't answer, or, ask them, what is the best way to follow up with you? Is it text? Is it email, on phone? Let me know the best way to reach you and communicate. And then if they do say no, thank you, maybe they're a 1 or a 2 and it's really not going very well. You might be able to follow up at some point, but if they say follow up with me in 6 months, write that down. But you also then ask, who else do you know that you think might be, of benefit to hear about some of this? Ask for the referrals. Don't get off the phone or leave the appointment with nothing. Okay. Yes, you might just have made a new friend, and that is beautiful, but try to, at least if they're not ready, or it's going to be a long while, at least ask them for a referral. And even if they do say 5, you can say, oh my goodness, you're so excited about this. Who else can you think of that might like to hear about this too? I'd love to share with them and give you some referral credit. Okay. And guess what? Then it's time to come up with your referral credit plan. But anyway, make it exciting and use those questions, the which, how, when, and who, and make sure you're asking on a scale of 1 to 5. With this, all of this really helps in anything, whether you're talking about sales of a product, storage account, artisan, media conversion, any of that, or if somebody's thinking about having an event, you can still ask them the same things on these same questions, go through, when might you like to have your event with your friends? You know, who are you thinking of inviting? You know, those kind of things. Or even a new ambassador. If you're going through a recruiting interview process, you ask them, you know, some of these questions, and you still get to that on a scale of 1 to 5. You know, where are you with making a decision? Because you want to know, same follow-up, and, you know, when would you like to get started, and how are you going to pay for your ambassador kit? It all works the same, so you can use these to help you with all the 3 main important parts of our business. Lastly, if you want to thank people, you really want to start and end each conversation with gratitude. Gratitude will get you far. It will help you be a much more positive person, and people can see that joy in you. You want to start the conversation by thanking them for being on the phone or meeting in person, for giving up some time to talk with them, you know, to talk with you, and, you know, and thank you for, you know, meeting me. Thank you for your quick reply, you know, whatever it is. Thank them right at the beginning of your meeting time, and then thank them at the end, even if they say no thank you and they're a 0. You want to thank them for their time. Thanks for their input. Thank you for the referral. Thank you for thinking of who might be interested. You know, thank you for letting me know when to follow up with you. I can't wait to talk with you again. But, you know, you can hardly use thank you too much. The other thing is, I just want you to remember, through this entire process, people will always remember how you made them feel, but they forget how much you know. You do not have to know every single thing. You don't have to memorize all these questions. You don't have to know every single thing about your storage account or forever. It's how you make people feel is what the reason that they'll want to do business with you, or talk to you again, or give you referrals, or, you know, be a part of your life and have that new friendship. It's not about how much you know. And I don't know who has that quote. It's a very famous quote, but it's really how you make people feel. So it's all about you're having confidence and just being friendly and wanting to get to know other people. So lastly, our call to action. This is our final of week 4. I want to have you set up and meet 3 people in the next 2 weeks. That means you got to reach out to them again and get a specific time and date on the calendar that you're going to meet in person, or you're going to do screen sharing, or maybe you're going to, you know, have a couple people and do, you know, meet all 3 people at once and do a little mini presentation. But I want you to get 3 new people that you haven't met with yet in the next 2 weeks. And then practice these questions in your everyday life. Practice these questions, even like the, you know, what's more important, and tell me about your family and your hobbies and your career. Do that with the people that you work with, people that you cross paths with, you know, in your community. Ask your family some of these questions. They might think you're weird for a little bit, like, Mom, why are you asking me so many questions? But I've learned with my teenage son, I have to ask open-ended questions, or all I get is a K or a yes or no. Okay, so I've got to ask really good questions in order to get any information. So do ask that, and it really is exciting to get to know people so much better and so much deeper by the questions that you learn to ask. And then I want you to share one success with us, one success that you've had in these last 4 weeks. I'd love it especially to be from this week, but share one success that you've had in the last 4 weeks and what this Back to Basics has done for you. And we can't wait for you to continue to grow your business, reach out to new people, and you're going to be growing, growing, growing. They say, you know, you're either green and growing or brown and dying. And so we want you green and growing, and we're so excited for the future with Forever, and we're so glad you're a part of it. So thank you for joining us, for being, or for me, joining me on this call today, and let me know any questions you have. And we are cheering you on, and we know you can do it, and can't wait to see some of your results. So thank you again.